Here is something most people never hear during a short clinic visit. While you sleep, your kidneys are not resting. They are working through the night, filtering your blood, balancing fluid, helping regulate a blood pressure, and clearing the metabolic waste your body produced all day long. And what you choose to eat in the last hour before bed can either support that overnight work or quietly make it harder. Most kidney advice starts with restriction: less salt, less processed food, less sugar, less phosphorus, less potassium when needed. That guidance matters. But there is another side to kidney care that almost never gets enough attention: what you can add, strategically and safely, to nourish your body while your kidneys do some of their most important work. In tonight's video, I am walking you through 8 fruits that are commonly recognized as kidney-friendly choices, especially when portions are sensible and your personal medical limits are respected. These fruits can offer antioxidants, fiber, hydration, and anti-inflammatory support, and several of them are especially practical in the evening because they are light, calming, and easy to tolerate. Before we begin, subscribe and turn on the bell if you want more practical, research-guided videos on healthy aging and kidney support. And tell me in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is in your part of the world. Stay with me all the way to fruit number 8, because it comes with an important caution that many people miss, and that detail can make the difference between something helpful and something that works against your goals. I'm Dr. Sophia, and before we get into the list, I want to take a minute to explain why nighttime matters so much. Your kidneys are 2 bean-shaped organs located toward your back, just below the rib cage. Together, they filter an enormous volume of blood every day, removing waste products, balancing electrolytes, adjusting fluid levels, and helping control blood pressure through tightly coordinated hormone signals. That overnight period is not a pause in kidney function. In many ways, it is when recovery and regulation are most important. During sleep, your body shifts into repair mode. Hormones change. Blood pressure should naturally settle. Inflammation should come down. Fluid balance should stay stable. If your evening routine is heavy, salty, sugary, or poorly timed, your kidneys have to deal with that burden for hours. If your evening routine is lighter and more supportive, the night becomes an opportunity to reduce stress instead of adding to it. There is also a tension people with kidney concerns need to understand. Many healthy foods contain nutrients the body loves, but compromised kidneys may struggle to manage in large amounts. Potassium is the classic example. It is essential for nerves, muscles, and the heartbeat, but in later kidney disease, too much potassium can become dangerous because the kidneys may not remove it efficiently. That is why people get confused. They hear that fruit is healthy, but then they hear that some fruits are too high in potassium. Both can be true. The goal is not to fear fruit. The goal is to choose the right fruit in the right amount at the right stage of kidney health. The 8 fruits in this video fit that middle ground well. They are practical, familiar, and much easier to work into an evening routine than the extreme plans people often feel pressured to follow. Let's start with the one that is most naturally suited to bedtime. Fruit number 1 is tart cherries. If there is one fruit on this list that feels almost designed for the evening, it is this one. Tart cherries are known for plant compounds that support recovery and may help the body's natural sleep rhythm. That matters because sleep and kidney health are more connected than most people realize. Blood pressure is supposed to dip at night. When sleep is poor, that normal dip can be blunted, and the kidneys may sit under unnecessary pressure for hours. Over time, that matters. Tart cherries bring together several useful features. They are flavorful without being overwhelmingly heavy. They contain antioxidants that help counter oxidative stress, and they are often easier to fit into a small nighttime snack than a full dessert or processed treat. If you use tart cherry juice, keep the portion modest and choose unsweetened whenever possible. If you use whole tart cherries, a small bowl is enough. You do not need a giant serving to get the benefit of the routine. The point is not sugar. The point is signaling your body toward a calmer overnight pattern. Fruit number 2 is blueberries. Blueberries have earned their reputation. They are one of the most widely respected fruits for antioxidant support, and that is especially valuable in kidney care because oxidative stress and chronic low-grade inflammation play such a central role in long-term damage. Blueberries are also easy to portion. That may sound simple, but it matters. The best bedtime foods are not only healthy on paper, they are realistic in real life. Blueberries can be eaten fresh, frozen, or added to a small bowl with another fruit. They feel light. They do not usually sit heavily in the stomach. They can satisfy the desire for something sweet without opening the door to the kind of ultra-processed nighttime snacking that leaves people feeling worse the next morning. If you are someone who tends to crave dessert after dinner, blueberries can become a powerful replacement habit because they are easy to keep available and easy to repeat consistently. Fruit number 3 is strawberries. Strawberries are one of the friendliest fruits for people trying to protect kidney health while still enjoying something naturally sweet. They are relatively low in calories, refreshing, and rich in vitamin C and helpful plant compounds. What makes strawberries especially useful at night is their combination of sweetness and lightness. They feel satisfying without feeling excessive. That matters because many evening eating problems are not caused by hunger alone. They are caused by habit, fatigue, and the desire for comfort. A fruit that feels pleasant and indulgent while still being supportive is more likely to become a routine. Strawberries also work well with simple pairings. A few slices alongside a small portion of plain yogurt can create a calming snack that feels complete without becoming a heavy meal. If you tolerate them well, keep them whole or halved and eat them slowly. That simple slowing down changes how a bedtime snack works, in the body and in the mind. Fruit number 4 is the apple, and I never want people to underestimate it just because it is common. Apples are one of the most practical kidney-supportive evening choices because they combine fiber, convenience, and blood sugar steadiness in a very accessible form. For many adults, especially those over 60, kidney concerns do not exist alone. They travel with blood sugar issues, weight gain, poor sleep, or digestive sluggishness. A whole apple addresses several of those concerns at once. The fiber slows absorption. The natural sweetness can help reduce the urge to reach for cookies or packaged sweets. And because apples are available almost everywhere, they remove the excuse that healthy evening eating is too complicated. One important detail is the peel. The peel holds much of the fiber and a large share of the antioxidant value, so unless you have a specific reason to remove it, keep it on. Eat the apple slowly, chew it well, and let it become part of your wind-down ritual rather than something rushed between tasks. Fruit number 5 is grapes, especially red or purple grapes. Many people are surprised to learn that grapes can fit into a kidney-conscious pattern when portions are reasonable. Grapes are easy to overeat because they are small and pleasant, so portion awareness matters here more than with some other fruits. But used wisely, they can be excellent. Red and purple grapes contain beneficial pigments and polyphenols, including resveratrol, that have been studied for cardiovascular and anti-inflammatory benefits. That crossover matters because the heart and kidneys are deeply connected. What damages one often stresses the other. Grapes also have a very practical advantage for people who struggle with evening thirst or want something cooling without pouring another full glass of liquid. Frozen grapes can be a smart option. They take longer to eat, feel refreshing, and create a more deliberate pace. If you are on a fluid restriction, always follow your care team's rules. But for many people, a modest serving of frozen grapes feels far more satisfying than expected and can help prevent less helpful nighttime choices. Fruit number 6 is raspberries. Raspberries deserve more attention than they usually get because they provide an impressive amount of fiber in a relatively small serving. That fiber matters for more than digestion. A healthier gut environment can influence inflammation throughout the body, and that includes the inflammatory burden tied to kidney decline. Fiber also helps a snack feel more complete, which means you are less likely to circle back into the kitchen an hour later looking for something else. Raspberries have a gentle tartness that works beautifully in the evening because it keeps the snack from becoming cloying or overly sweet. They pair well with blueberries, they pair well with a few tart cherries, and they can turn a very small bowl of fruit into something that feels more substantial. If you buy them frozen, they are often more affordable and just as useful. Let them soften slightly, then eat them slowly. Small details like temperature, texture, and pacing can make a healthy habit far easier to keep. Fruit number 7 is pineapple, and this one surprises people. Pineapple feels tropical and bright, not necessarily like a classic kidney-supportive food, but in sensible portions it can be a useful option. Pineapple is often chosen because it tends to be lower in potassium than many people expect, and fresh pineapple contains bromelain, an enzyme associated with anti-inflammatory activity. Now, this is where practical nuance matters. Fresh pineapple is not the same as heavily sweetened canned pineapple in syrup. If your goal is support, not just sweetness, fresh is the better choice. It also tends to feel cleaner and lighter in the stomach. Pineapple has a natural brightness that can work well after dinner, especially for people who are tired of berries or apples and want variety without jumping to something much heavier. Keep the portion modest, cut it into small pieces, and avoid turning it into a sugary dessert dish. The simplest version is usually the best version. Fruit number 8 is cranberries, and this is where the important caution comes in. Cranberries have a long reputation in urinary tract conversations, and there is a reason they come up so often. Certain cranberry compounds may help reduce the ability of some bacteria to stick to the urinary tract lining, which is why cranberry products are often discussed in relation to recurrent urinary tract infections. But there are two mistakes people make. First, they assume cranberries treat an active infection. They do not. If you think you have a urinary tract infection or kidney infection, you need medical evaluation, not a fruit-based delay tactic. Second, people assume any cranberry product is automatically healthy. That is where trouble starts. Many cranberry juices and dried cranberry products are loaded with added sugar. So the label says cranberry, but the reality is a dessert-level sugar load that can work against metabolic and kidney goals. If you use cranberries, choose unsweetened forms whenever possible and use them in small amounts. And if you take a blood thinner, especially warfarin, bring cranberry use up with your pharmacist or clinician because interactions have been discussed and personal guidance matters. Now let me show you how to turn this list into something practical. You do not need 8 separate snacks. You do not need to shop like a diet influencer. And you do not need supplements to make this work. A simple bedtime bowl can do the job beautifully. Start with a small base of tart cherries. Add a spoonful of blueberries. Add a few sliced strawberries or a small handful of raspberries. That combination gives you color, flavor, fiber, and a broad range of antioxidants without becoming a heavy meal. If cherries are not available, use blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries together. If you want a little more substance, add a few apple slices on the side rather than turning the bowl into a giant portion. The goal is support, not overload. Think light, intentional, and repeatable. A good nighttime routine should feel sustainable on an ordinary Tuesday, not just during a burst of motivation. I also want to say something important about stage of disease. A food can be generally kidney-friendly and still need adjustment in your specific case. That is not a contradiction. It is personalized medicine. If your kidney function is mildly reduced and your blood potassium is normal, you may tolerate these fruits very well in normal portions. If you have advanced kidney disease, are on dialysis, or have been told your potassium or fluid restrictions are strict, the same foods may need to be counted much more carefully. This is why blanket fear does not help and blanket reassurance does not help either. Your numbers matter. Your labs matter. Your symptoms matter. The smartest approach is not to guess. It is to build habits around foods that are broadly supportive while checking those habits against your real medical situation. If you have not had recent kidney labs and you are concerned, ask for them. Knowing your creatinine, estimated filtration rate, potassium, and related markers gives context to every nutrition decision you make. Let me make this even more real with a story. I once worked with a woman I will call Maria. She was in her early 70s, sleeping poorly, worried about kidney health, and so afraid of doing the wrong thing that she had slowly removed almost every fruit from her diet. In her mind, fruit had become dangerous because she had heard so much about potassium. What she lost in the process was variety, fiber, pleasure, and some of the easiest antioxidant-rich foods available to her. We did not overhaul everything overnight. We started small, tart cherries a few nights a week. Blueberries after dinner instead of cookies. Apple slices when she wanted something crunchy. Later, we added strawberries and a small cranberry option in unsweetened form. The biggest change was not dramatic weight loss or some miracle lab shift in 1 week. The biggest change was that her evening routine finally stopped feeling punitive. She slept more consistently, felt less trapped by restriction, and was able to maintain the plan because it felt like care instead of fear. That is a very important difference. So here is your practical action plan for tonight. If tart cherries are available, begin there. A small serving 30 to 60 minutes before bed is a strong first step. If not, choose half a cup of blueberries or strawberries. If you want something more substantial, have one apple with the peel. If you prefer something cool and slow to eat, use a small handful of frozen grapes. If your priority is fiber, make raspberries part of your bowl. If you want variety, rotate in fresh pineapple on certain nights. And if cranberries are part of your plan, keep them unsweetened and keep the expectations realistic. They may support prevention in some cases, but they are not treatment. Above all, keep portions moderate and keep the routine calm. The best kidney-supportive bedtime food is one that helps you avoid the bigger problems of late-night eating: excess sugar, excess salt, heavy digestion, poor sleep, and inconsistency. Before we close, let me give you 3 mistakes that can quietly cancel out the benefits of even the best fruit choices. Mistake number 1 is turning a light bedtime snack into a second dinner. Even kidney-friendly fruit can become unhelpful when it is stacked on top of a heavy meal, a dessert, and late-night grazing. Your kidneys, blood sugar, digestion, and sleep all do better when the evening becomes simpler, not more crowded. Mistake number 2 is drinking sweetened juice as if it were the same as whole fruit. Whole fruit brings fiber, slower absorption, and better appetite control. Sweetened juice often brings a fast sugar load with far less satisfaction. Even when a juice starts from a good ingredient, the added sugar can change the outcome. Mistake number 3 is assuming that healthy means unlimited. It does not. Portion size is what turns a supportive habit into a sustainable one. In most cases, a small bowl, a half cup, or one piece of fruit is enough to do the job. Timing matters too. People often ask me exactly when a bedtime fruit snack makes the most sense. In general, 30 to 60 minutes before bed works well for many people because it is close enough to support the evening routine without being so close that you lie down immediately after eating. If you take medications at night, ask whether any food timing matters for those medicines, especially if you have diabetes or use drugs that affect blood sugar. A good rule is that your bedtime snack should feel gentle, not noticeable. You should not feel stuffed. You should not feel a sugar rush. You should simply feel that you gave your body something calm and supportive and then stepped out of the way. I also want to address a common emotional pattern around kidney health, because it affects adherence more than people expect. Many adults live in a cycle of fear-based eating. They hear one warning about potassium, another warning about sugar, another warning about salt, and gradually the dinner plate gets smaller, the joy disappears, and then the whole plan falls apart, because it feels impossible to live with. Restriction without strategy usually fails. The better pattern is substitution. Instead of asking, "What do I have to give up tonight?" ask, "What is the smartest thing I can place in that spot?" If your usual pattern is ice cream, cookies, or salty packaged snacks after dinner, replacing that routine with a modest fruit bowl is not a tiny change. It is a major metabolic shift, repeated night after night. That is how protective habits are built. They are not built through perfection. They are built through repetition. One more practical tip is to prepare tomorrow night's fruit before you finish tonight's routine. Wash the berries, portion the cherries, slice the apple only if it will not brown too much for your preference. Put the grapes in the freezer. Make the good choice visible and easy. People often think discipline is the answer, but environment is usually stronger than discipline. If the kidney-supportive option is ready and the processed snack is buried in the back of a cabinet, your odds of following through go up dramatically. And finally, remember the bigger picture. Think of these fruits as helpers, not cures, supporting better habits one evening at a time. No single fruit repairs damaged kidneys. No bowl, no juice, and no nighttime ritual replaces blood pressure control, blood sugar control, medication adherence, movement, hydration guidance, and regular follow-up. But small choices still matter. They matter because kidney disease usually moves through ordinary days, not dramatic moments. What you repeat becomes what shapes you. A calmer snack, a better sleep window, a little less inflammation, a little less processed sugar, a little more fiber, a little more consistency. Those changes may sound modest, but over months and years, modest changes practiced consistently are exactly what protect function the longest. So do not dismiss the power of a simple bedtime fruit routine. Use it as one small tool in a larger plan to give your kidneys less work, better conditions, and a more stable night. Everything in this video is educational and should never replace advice from your own clinician or kidney dietitian. If you have stage 4 or stage 5 kidney disease, are on dialysis, take warfarin, have diabetes that is difficult to control, or have been given specific restrictions, check before making any new food a nightly habit. But if your goal is to build a smarter evening routine, these 8 fruits are a strong place to start. They offer a more hopeful way to think about kidney care, not just what to avoid, but what to use.